Hey, what's up, Street Dogs? The Eric from the Eric Street Photography blog. Want to review the new Google Pixel for you and just give you some of my practical thoughts. So first and foremost, why the Google Pixel? The Google Pixel to me is probably one of the most innovative, interesting cameras in the market right now. And there's tons of features which make it really awesome. So first and foremost, there's this concept of Hdr Plus, which allows you to take amazing photos regardless of whatever the lighting situations are. And also there's this huge new thing that I'm a huge fan of called Nightside Mode, which you could shoot in pretty much pitch dark positions and it could still photograph it. And if you think about Android as an ecosystem, it's a more open source, open platform. So if you're more of an Android fanboy, kind of like I am, then it would work well for you. And there's all these different functions. Honestly, panorama, portrait mode, I think these things are all gimmicky. But I am actually interested in doing stuff like the photosphere, where you can shoot 360s of whatever you're photographing. Similarly, when it comes to shooting pictures, there's so many nice things you could do with it. For example, everything is synced nicely into Google Photos. And one thing I'm a huge fan of now is that in Google Photos, you could actually favorite your favorite pictures. And you can see, you can make some really amazing photos on the Google Pixel. And with computational photography, it doesn't really matter what the image quality is. It uses a lot of the in-camera processing to process the photos. So for example, here's the original photo that I shot in camera. And I'm a really huge fan of this Vista mode. And essentially what I do is I go under the settings, I can adjust the lightness, the brightness, change the exposure a little bit, play with the contrast, play with the whites, highlights, darken the blacks, everything. And you can see directly within camera, within the phone, you could already make some really amazing changes to your image quality. And there's a lot of things about the Google Pixel I don't like. So for example, let's say I'm trying to take a picture, I tap. The exposure adjustment dial is all the way here on the right side, which makes it very difficult to function one-handedly. Even worse, let's say you're shooting a vertical picture, right? A horizontal picture like this. And you're trying to shoot this way. And then if you want to use your exposure compensation, the dial's still all the way up here instead of being here on the right side, which obviously makes a lot more logical sense. And things I wish that there were is that all these things are kind of silly. You don't need timer, live photos. You don't need that. You don't really need this temperature gauge here. But there's none of this you could really adjust. I actually am a big fan of the flash. The flash actually works pretty well. So let's say I'm even photographing this little thing here. Shoots with the flash. I'll open it up. And let's say I want to post-process the photo with this Vista preset, which I'm a huge fan of. So Vista, and I want to add more contrast under light. Add contrast, play with the whites, play with the highlights, play with the blacks, with the shadows, play with the blacks, to essentially make the photograph look more dramatic. So the benefit of using the flash is that it'll add a lot more contrast and interest to your phones. And I'm currently here testing the Google Pixel 3, the normal one, and it actually feels really good in the hand. It's a good weight, really well built. I'm not a big fan of bigger phones because they're a little bit more difficult to use. And I've even experimented using Visco to process my pictures, and the colors look really nice too. So this is the prior picture that I showed you. So by default, this is what it looked like. And a lot of you guys know that I'm a big fan of this A6 preset. Looks really lovely. Save this. And afterwards can share this to whatever platform. Usually I just save it to my gallery and I could upload it afterwards. So overall, Google Pixel, amazing. There's lots of cool settings you could change. I put on the golden ratio to help me with my composition. There's all these other things you could adjust. But essentially, I think the question everyone is asking is, what is the best smartphone camera at this point? I think for Android, is still going to be the Google Pixel. I'm not a huge fan of this kind of new UI. It doesn't really make too much sense to me. But maybe I just need to get used to it. And I don't plan on keeping the phone. I just bought it to test it out, and because I'm always interested in the computational photography side of things. So yeah, I think for the most part, image quality is phenomenal. The play-in with the Google Photos app is really, really solid. And yeah, I made a lot of pictures on it that I quite like. That what you could do is you could press this little favorite button on the top to put into your favorites gallery. And yeah, I think it's a legitimate tool for photographers to use. Alright, so long story short, phenomenal image quality. If you want the best Android smartphone camera money go buy, Google Pixel 3 is best for you. And I would actually choose the smaller one, not the XL. The XL is too big. And also a very capable phone. Eric Kim gives it thumbs up.